Hey everyone, it's your girl Jade Alycia here, and in this video I'm going to share with you guys all about my trip to Paris that really changed my life. Such an incredible experience. So if you want to hear what I did, what I saw, who I met there, stay tuned and keep watching this video. Okay guys, so today is good old story time and I'm so happy. I got my cup of tea ready. Oh my gosh, so in my previous video about how I started my fashion brand, I touched on a little bit my trip to Paris, and during that video I just felt like I should make another video because I kind of wanted to dwell there and bask in all the glory that is in Paris. Like, oh my gosh. So wow, where to begin? I'm gonna insert videos and pictures of my trip and me there and places that I went and things that we did along this video, so you guys can feel the full experience of being in Paris without actually being in Paris. So where to begin? So just to give a little background, I took a program, a highly selective fashion program at the college that I was attending in 2016, and that was about my senior year. Yeah, that was my senior year there. I applied to this program, I got accepted, and in the program we studied Parisian culture, fashion, the historical background of it, sort of where it is now, where it evolved from, different things that were like art related, in different areas in the city that we were going to be visiting. And then we actually got to go abroad and visit for spring break, which actually is so funny because spring break falls around my birthday as well, so it was like an early birthday gift. I was just so amped. I was so excited, and I got to go. So I packed up my stuff, and this is the first time I flew, guys. Like, I've never flown on plane, I've never been out of the country, but I was just so excited. And everyone's like, you're gonna be so scared, you know, when you get on the plane. But honestly, I wasn't scared. I wasn't scared at all. I was just more nervous because of what people told me, but internally I wasn't scared. And I actually got the window seat, I believe. Either on the way back or the way there I got the window seat, but I think the other way I got the middle seat. So I was excited, and honestly the takeoff was my favorite part. Like, I just like the rush, like the adrenaline rush, and a lot of people get scared, but I think it's exciting. Like, it's fun. Like, you just feel like whoosh, take you like right up in the air, and then you see all the city lights because we flew out at nighttime, so that when we got to Paris it was like first thing in the morning, because if you don't know, it's like an 8-hour flight. I think it's an 8-hour flight back. There's an hour difference. So when you go to Paris, I think it's either 7 or 8 hours to get there. But when you come back, it's either 8 or 9 hours because there's a 1-hour addition to it because you're going against the wind. But I was just like, whoa, and I was looking out the window and I saw like all the lights twinkling, and it was just so pretty, honestly. And it was so peaceful when we got up in the sky, saw all the clouds. Like, I've never seen clouds, guys, up close like that. I've never ever seen that. And so I was just like in awe of like how beautiful the world is in the sky and how peaceful it is. And then we got to Paris, you know, they announced it over the loudspeaker. When you looked down, because we were getting ready to land, so of course you can see there's houses and everything, but there was just like open fields of grass, and like I was like, whoa, like this looks so different. Like, you know, you're in a different country when you're about to land in Paris. Like, just from looking out the window you can completely tell. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is insane. I'm in Paris right now. They're speaking over in the plane, like the team, I can't even remember the name, the pilot, okay? The pilot is speaking in French. Everyone's waiting. I'm saying bonjour, bonjour. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like what? I'm like in Paris right now, and I just felt like so at home, and like I fit in so well because I had been studying French I was in my second semester, but I was more towards the I was in between beginner and intermediate, so at that point I could have full conversations. I could understand what you're saying. I could ask you if you speak English. I could ask you your name, where you live, your phone number is. Like, I was able to do all of that. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like, I'm in Paris. So we land and we get off the plane, we go into, you know, where you get your luggage and all that. And so I had to wait because I was with a group of people that I took the course with. So we were all together, of course, and we had to sort of wait there to wait for our van to pick us up to bring us to the hotel. And everyone was just so nice. Like, and I wasn't expecting everyone to be so nice because a lot of people had told me that, oh, French people are so mean and they're not very heartwarming and they're not very helpful, which is all not true, by the way. None of that is true. They are the nicest, kindest people. They're so helpful. They're so nice. They're so honest. They know that you're from outside the country, but they still help you. Like, if you try to speak French and just attempt it, they appreciate it so much. And amazingly, they speak better English than much of us Americans. I was shocked. So as you're waiting, I had my roommate and I was like, let's take pictures. So we're like in the airport just taking pictures, waiting to get picked up. But we were also so tired because literally I couldn't sleep on the plane at all. I might have got like a crook in my neck because of the way I was sleeping. But I was just so excited to finally get there and it was amazing. So the bus came, we got on the bus, and as we're going through like the streets, you know, we're kind of going over our itinerary because each day we had something that we were going to do. And at the end of all of this, we would have to come back and write like a paper about our experience. So we got to the hotel, which I can't, like, I'm going to try to describe this best I can because over here in the States, it's nothing like this. So you can always Google this as I'm talking about it just to give you a better idea, but I'm going to try to paint the picture. So we were in the heart of Paris, and there it's like they have sidewalks, but they also, what we call alleyways here, like in the States, they have alleyways, but they're decorated and they're beautifully decorated and there's stores in them. So there's stores and like hotels and bakeries, all those different things, little restaurants. They're also in these alleyways, which are sort of like tucked in. So our hotel was like one of those in like the alleyway. And so you go a couple of steps in the alleyway and it was our hotel. So it was like a cute like little lobby that you walk into, and next to that was like a gift shop, and then they had a bakery, and then they had another little gift shop on both sides. Like, it was super cute. And in the little waiting area, the little lobby, it's really fancy for this cute little hotel. And we checked in, we took our stuff up the elevator, and we went to our rooms. So the rooms are like sort of like our rooms here. It was, well, the particular hotel I was in was really cute, really nice, but it was almost like a little home, if that makes sense. Like, you took the elevator up, but the rooms, they felt very homey. You had 2 twin beds. The rooms are kind of small, but it was all hardwood flooring. We had the flat screen. We had different cabinets. We had the mini fridge. We also had this gorgeous rain shower bathroom. Oh, guys, let me tell you, every night I go in there and I was just like, yes, I love rain showers. I love bathrooms. It's so funny. Like, my mom knows, like, the bathroom is my spot. Like, that is my sanctuary. I love a good shower. And I was just so happy. I was so exhausted. I remember we also had like a little balcony, but they were doing construction on the outside of the hotel, so it was all tarped, so you couldn't experience the balcony. But I was just over the moon about the room, the mini fridge, the cute lamps, the bedding, the flat screen, the rain shower. Like, it's like, okay, because we're really not going to be here that long anyway as far as time in the room, because each day we had a whole itinerary of what we're going to be doing. So I was like, all right, cool. So I was like, let me just unpack some of my stuff. Me and my roommate, we were just so amped. We were like, what are we going to pick to wear the next day? And we dropped off our luggage. Then I believe we immediately left and went to a couple different places. Gosh, guys, Paris, first of all, the fashion that people wear is like out of this world. Like, how are you so trendy? How are you so fit? How are you so coordinated? And why do we not have that over here in the States, like 24/7? I was like, I was thinking to myself, like, I should have packed better clothes, because I packed clothes that were comfy, cute, but not over the top, you know? Because I knew we were going to be doing a lot of walking, so I definitely wanted to pick comfortable boots. It was also winter there, so it was going to be cold, and I just wanted to pack stuff that I could also wear more than once in different ways, because this is my first time traveling and I didn't want to overpack, and I also didn't want to underpack. I also wanted to make sure I had room enough for gifts to bring back, and to make sure that I brought like my charger converter, all of that, making sure all of that fits in there, as well as my snacks and things that I would want to eat over there. So I tried to pack as little clothes as possible. And I remember just being so like in my element there, that I was just like, whoa. And it's crazy because you're also on a complete 8-hour time difference, 8 or 9 hour time difference from here. So when I would call back to check in with my mom, because I just wanted to let her know I made it, you know, I'd be using the Wi-Fi at the hotel because I didn't have the international calling set up on my phone. And I used the Wi-Fi, and I'd be talking to her, I'd be sending her pictures. She's like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you love it, blah, blah, blah. So the first day, I remember we took the train, and their subways are like, you think New York City subways are like super fast and whatever, they have nothing on them. And I thought Boston, because I used to live over in Boston, I thought their trains were like on point. Nothing on them. First of all, their train is so fast, it's like lightning, and it's so clean, like it sparkles almost. That's how clean their subways are, that's how clean their trains are. And so we got on there and we were going to Versailles. Oh my gosh, I was like, oh my gosh, this is epic. First of all, I always wanted to go to Versailles, and it just so happened that at the same time that I was in Paris, Kim and Kanye were in Paris during the Haute Couture Fashion Week, because that's when it was. So they were attending the shows of different designers, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like I really want to meet her, like I really want to see them, I want to meet her, I've always wanted to meet her. And I hope that happens. So I just left it and I gave it to God. And it was so funny because I think I had actually wrote status on Facebook saying Kim and Kanye are in Paris. They were at Versailles, I think either the day before we went to Versailles, or a couple hours before they had just left. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I really want to meet them, and I hope that this all works out so we could cross paths and meet them. So I left it at that, and that was like the first day. And let me just say, Versailles, I'm gonna insert some pictures of Versailles, because Versailles was like my spot. Like, it was just, a lot of people get overwhelmed because it is so much happening and they perceive it as being chaotic or gaudy. But I was like, this is like art, guys, at its finest. The hallway of mirrors was beautiful. People had weddings there. They had ginormous, like, you look out the windows, because it's a palace, so you look out the windows and you could see the ginormous, they had pools, like huge pools, and you'll see the hedges perfectly cut, and like the rooms, a lot of them had like gold leaf doors, and just gold leaf put on the walls, and hand painted ceilings, and it's just incredible. Like, if you've never seen pictures of Versailles, Google it right now, because it's amazing. I'll put in some pictures, but they don't do it justice. And even when you walk up to the gates of Versailles, they're gold. And it's just like it's like a dirt road, and all of a sudden you see the gates of Versailles, and they're huge, and they're gold, and they're beautiful. And then you see the entire palace, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, this is massive, but it's gorgeous. And even the outside, the architecture is gorgeous. So we went inside, we explored there, but then after we went through the palace, we came out the back and there was like this little like train. And we got on the train. It wasn't like an official train, it was like a cute little train that they do. So I guess like a little caboose. And it was like a nice weather day, so it was like a chilly spring day. And we went to Antoinette's, I believe it's Antoinette's palace, but before we passed that, we passed this, there was a couple other palaces on the property. The property's massive, guys. So there's a pink palace, and I was like, that's probably where I would live because I love pink. And then we went to I think it's Antoinette's palace. I can't exactly remember. But there was also a gift shop in there, and that was cute, and it was much smaller. But she had an outside garden that we went in, which we also took pictures there. Like, I literally took pictures of everything when I went to Paris. And so we got on the little caboose train thing back to the main palace of Versailles, and we left. And we went and explored the streets over there, which they had such cute little restaurants. The food there is amazing, and it's way more healthier than here. Even the bread, the meats are freshly cut, the vegetables are just fresh, and honestly, I loved being there. So we shopped around a little bit, and then yeah, I believe we ended our day, like they gave us the rest of the day free, and then we ended up going to the hotel later on that night. I remember another day while we were in Paris, I woke up, I believe it was the next day, next morning in Paris, we woke up and there was breakfast, and I was super hungry, but I was also excited to see like the difference between American breakfast and their breakfast and sort of like the eating experience. And it was so cute. It was literally like tea time. They had all these little pastries and jam and tea, and I just felt like this is my place right here. Like, tea time, I'm like a tea fanatic. I love the pastries, I love croissants, I love all of that, the jam, all of that. So we ate, and then we went to the Champs-Elysees. And the Champs-Elysees is very famous in Paris. It is basically this massive boulevard of all of the top brands, fashion brands. So there's Louis Vuitton, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. There's Fendi, there's Ellie Saab, there's so many. These are like huge brands that are on this boulevard. And then you also have the trendy brands like Zara and those type of lower end brands. But over there, you know, the quality of the clothing is so much different. And they also had McDonald's over there, which I will visit back in a second because their McDonald's is a million times better than ours. Their fast food is like no other. So so on the Champs-Elysees, I wanted to go to Louis Vuitton store, and I've always wanted a Louis bag, and I never could afford one. Honestly, they're very expensive, and I knew I wanted the Neverfull, and I knew I wanted the one that had the ballerina lining inside, and either the LV on the outside or the Demoir on the outside, the checked pattern. But I knew I couldn't afford it, and I knew I wanted the MM size. Okay. And so I went with a couple of the people that I was with, and they had gotten bags. They were gonna get bags, and it's so funny because when I went, I was like so sad that I didn't have enough money to get the bag because the euro and the dollar were so close, if not, it was lower than the American dollar. So the Louis bag that would have really cost over here almost $1,000 was costing like $800 over there. Plus, we didn't have to pay the tax; we would be refunded for that. And I just would have got and it would have said made in Paris as well. And I just would have got a massive discount on a brand new Louis bag, and I just didn't have the money. I only had money to eat and to buy clothing and gifts and stuff, but not really invest in a Louis Vuitton bag at the time. So I went with people, and we went to the flagship of Paris, the Louis Vuitton store. And I've always been obsessed with Louis Vuitton since I was a child. I just think the brand is just so classic, so timeless, so always modern. And it was a 5-story Louis Vuitton store. I've never seen one like this, and I'm gonna insert photos for you guys. First of all, it was in a circular shape, so everything went around in a circle, the different floors, and there was 5 different floors. And I remember I walked in the bottom floor, and you just had, you know, the most common stuff, the handbags. This side had the menswear, but then as you went around in the circle, it blended into the handbags and different accessories and women's wear and monogram section. Then you went up to the next floor. It had scarves and more accessories and keychains, and you went to the next section, and they also had, I believe they had women's wear there. And then the further section, it was like they had like stylists up there. And the store was just so incredibly done. I've never seen over here. I don't care if you go to the best, most high-end store, fashion brand store in the States, it's nothing compared to how they merchandise in Paris. No lie. How they merchandise their stuff, I was like, what? Like, mind blown. No wonder there were so many people in there. Like, they were selling Louis Vuitton bags like it was nothing. Every like this clockwork, people were coming back to get their bags. It got to the point where it was like, if you wanted it monogrammed, okay, you can buy it, I'll monogram it, come back in an hour, come pick it up. It was like they were selling out bags quick. Insane. So I was just taking in the whole experience because I loved Louis Vuitton. I wanted a Louis Vuitton bag, and I was just, the whole atmosphere was different. Like, even when you enter the store, they do have security there, but they also have different people that work in different areas, but they don't like hound you and come ask you like, oh miss, do you need help with something such and such. They know that if you want to buy something, you need help, you need a sale, you'll go find them. And so that's what I really loved and appreciated about all the stores that I went into in Paris, is that they didn't look at you like you were gonna steal something. They didn't look at you like you were questionable. They looked at everyone as a customer, and if you're here, if you need something, I'm here to help. I'm not going to bombard you. I'm not going to follow you around the store. I'm not going to judge you and say that you look like you don't have enough money to afford the things in here. We're just going to be here for help. So if you need help, and when you do need help, let us know. So I love that a lot. And I remember I left with the person that got their bag monogrammed, and I left, and then we went to the Ellie Saab showroom. Oh my gosh, because my roommate, she actually wanted one of their limited edition perfumes that they were only distributing in Paris. There was like a special collection that they were only distributing in Paris, nowhere else in the world. And so we went to the showroom, she got it, but it was so funny because when we got there, you know, she didn't speak much French, and we both took the same French class, but I had picked it up more than she did, so I was sort of like the translator, the communicator. And we ended up meeting this girl there that she was actually from the States. And so it was so funny, we started laughing, we're like, oh, you speak English? And then we all started talking English, and she was just telling us how she got there, how she loves it there, her experience there working at Ellie Saab, like how she's in fashion now, and like all of that. And it was great. And we even got to go, it was like a showroom experience. Like when you go to Paris and you go to their showrooms, their fashion house showrooms, you feel expensive. Like they offer you champagne, they offer you if you want wine, they offer you the works. You get to go through their latest collections that are like sitting on the rack, gorgeous beaded gowns, tens of thousands of dollars, and you know you can't afford that. They know you can't afford it, but it's not about that to them. It's not about who can afford and who can't afford their look to them. They just want you to look and admire the work of their brand. It's a much different mindset there than it is here. Here we're all crunching for sales. Are you gonna buy that? Oh, this is a discount. This is nothing over there did I see was discounted, but it was impeccable, and people were buying it. It was flying off the shelves, or they were awing at just the beauty of the construction of it all. So it was more like about the brand image and what the brand's values were and what they conveyed as a brand as a whole, as opposed to concentrating on pushing product and sales. So we left out of the showroom not only feeling like we were worthy of being there and just feeling so expensive, but also I left the showroom feeling honored that they even took the time. Their staff really like poured into us and took the time and attention to really make us feel comfortable and feel welcome. And even if we were to never come back there, we would never forget that experience that we had in Paris. So we ended our day by going around, you know, learning the subway ourselves and going shopping and going back to the hotel. We also went out to dinner one night, which I got dressed up for, and I'll insert a picture for that. And they cook a lot of things. Well, first of all, they're known for their wine, right? But unfortunately, I'm allergic to wine, to white wine and some red wine, so I'm very like about which ones I can drink, but they actually cook with wine in their food as well. So you know, we went out for dinner. We had dinner. It was delish. That was on the last night that we were there. We went out for dinner. But typically we would just pick something up, you know, from restaurants along the way, or we would go to the supermarkets there, which were very similar to ours, but I feel like the food quality was just so much better. And you know, I would get a sandwich. I got macaroons. Oh my gosh, the macaroons. Let's go back to McDonald's for a second. So what we call Mickey D's over here in the States, they have a McDonald's. This is the Golden Arches, same brand name, whatever. But their menu, guys, their menu is like not like ours. First of all, they have macaroons, they have bomb desserts like cakes and all, like they have a whole different arrangement of desserts there. Okay, if I lived over there, I'd be eating McDonald's every single day because it's like a delicacy over there compared to us. And so even when I ordered like their fries, their burgers, whatever, it was so fresh, it was so good. I was like, what? We're basically eating garbage compared to over there in Paris, their McDonald's, just so you guys know. So when you ever go to Paris, eat at McDonald's and you will see the difference. Amazing, amazing. So yes, so when we went out to eat that the last night we were in Paris, it was amazing. It was so good. It was like a beef stew. It was really good. And even their cheesecakes are good because we went out another day to a museum. I think it was a Textile Museum. It's really well known over there, and we saw this gorgeous exhibit of just different textiles and the history. And there was also like a Chanel exhibit where it was like buttons, and you see like the history of the buttons and really what they used. It was really cool. And after that, we went out to eat, and I got cheesecake. And I'm gonna insert a picture of my cheesecake because it looks so good. And it was just drizzle. It was, guys, their dessert, their food over there in Paris, period, is amazing. I was just like, oh, this is so good. So later on that night, I remember after doing some shopping during the day, we were scheduled to go to the Eiffel Tower, right? So of course everyone knows the Eiffel Tower, and everyone wants to visit. So we get there and I'm excited. And there are actually these people down at the bottom that are like trying to sell you like these little light things. They think because you're American you're gonna buy it, but I was like, no, I don't want that. So anyway, we wait to get into the line underneath the Eiffel Tower, because what I didn't realize is that the Eiffel Tower has an elevator inside the center of it. And if I can, I'm gonna put the video of me going up, but I'll insert it in. There's an elevator inside the Eiffel Tower, and there's 3 different floors. So there's the main floor inside the Eiffel Tower, which has stores. There's a second floor inside the Eiffel Tower, which has stores. And then there's the tippy top where you go and you gaze over the whole entire city of Paris, and they offer you champagne up there. So I was like, okay, so we're going to the top. So we go all the way to the top, and I'm like, I'm personally scared of heights, so I didn't want to look down. So we get up there, and it's like, it's gated, you know, there is a gate so no one falls over or anything like that, and there's railing. And it was just so pretty. The lights of the whole city, it was nighttime, so you saw the lights of the whole city just lighting up. And it was so pretty because on the hour of every hour, the Eiffel Tower twinkles. So as I'm standing there and I'm just looking at the different places that I visited and the different monuments and everything, I was like, wow, like this is a beautiful city. And I wish there were places in the States where you could go that you could feel like you're on top of the world and you can see the entire city, you know, your entire city. And it was just so beautiful, and I just felt like I was just so high up there, and I just felt, and even when I looked down, I didn't feel fear of being up that high. I was just in awe and like looking at the different places, like, hey, there's the Arc de Triomphe, and hey, there's you know, there's our hotel, and look, there's that, you know. I was just looking and seeing all the different landmarks, and it was so pretty. And I actually visited the tower twice, once during the day, but we didn't go up and inside, we just stayed out, because across the street there's actually this, it's like this huge cement place, and it's a really Instagrammable place. You've seen it a ton of times on Instagram when people or couples take pictures in front of the Eiffel Tower. It looks like they're in front of it, but they're standing on the steps and the Eiffel Tower is across the street. So yeah, a lot of people stand there and take pictures and get those Instagrammable moments over there. So we visited it twice. Once it was during the day, and then the other time was during nighttime. And actually we visited a third time, I think right before we were about to go, but we didn't go inside because we wanted to see the Eiffel Tower twinkle on the hour, so we can take like a video and a picture, which I did. And it was just so pretty. I loved it. I loved the Eiffel Tower. I loved the whole experience. I loved the I didn't drink the champagne at the top, other people did, but I just loved the whole feeling of just feelings luxury, luxurious, like expensive, and that's what I felt when I was there. Another place that I went was, we went to the Arc de Triomphe, which is like, I believe it's off the Champs-Élysées, and it's like a building, but it has a hole in the middle, so it's a cutout here, and it's like an arc. So if you Google it, or I can put in a picture of it, you'll see what it looks like, and you can actually stand on top of it. So we went to the top of it, and again, that was like another really iconic landmark, that inside they had like a spiral staircase, but they also had art pieces inside. It was like a cool little art museum as you went to the floors. And when you went on top, it was another place where you just felt like you're on top of the world. Like from there I could see the Eiffel Tower, from there I could see, you know, where we were going, and it was just so beautiful. You see the skyline, and I took a picture up there as well. And then I remember when we went to the Louis Vuitton Foundation, I was so excited, because this is again when we were tracking like Kim and Kanye, me and my roommate, because we were like, we're gonna meet Kim, right? So we went there, and literally the night before is when Kanye had that like concert at the Louis Vuitton Foundation. I believe he was like releasing an album or whatever, and he also had in there like some sort of exhibit, because I thought the Louis Vuitton Foundation was just gonna be like the archives of all the Louis Vuitton bags, but it's not. It's actually a huge art museum. It has a waterfall in front, like it's beautiful, gorgeous, and it has a couple of different floors, and different artists are featured in each room. Some of them are interactive pieces of art, and others are ones that you just look at. But it was beautiful, and they had the terraces at the top, which is where I went, and we had like this whole photo shoot, because the light was just hitting, and I was like, yes. And it also had the skyline in the back, because that's how big the building is, and it was gorgeous. I love the terraces. I could literally sit up there all day, and it was a really cool experience. But I was so excited, because I was like, we're getting closer to finding Kim and Kanye, like to my roommate, and we're like, we're gonna meet them. So we went there, we took a bunch of pictures. I think I got a couple of souvenirs from the foundation. They do have like a gift shop, but it was really cool. We also ended up visiting, well, let's just get to the part about Kim and Kanye, and then I'll tell you guys about when I visited the Louvre, because we went to the Louvre as well. So when we met Kim and Kanye, it was so unexpected, I can't even express. So we had just come from the fabric district, because they have like a fabric district there that's sort of like New York, but it's a lot better. And they have a lot more luxurious fabrics, embellished fabrics that would cost you like a fortune in New York if you go to buy them pre-yard, but over there it was hugely discounted. Well, not discounted, but their prices were a lot cheaper. And so I bought fabric that my mom was like, you should use this for your wedding gown, but I'm like, but it's not like white, it's a different color. But I still have the fabric, and maybe like I'll pull it out and show you guys the fabric that I bought in Paris. But it was beautiful. It's like a mesh fabric almost, but on the mesh it's like watercolor painted flowers in a really beautiful pastel colors, and then on top of that is the sequins that is the same exact thing. So it's like printed on top of the sequins, so it's very beautiful. So we had just come from that area, and we were then going to go visit Colette, which used to be in Paris, but it is no longer. They actually closed down. But it was a very trendy spot, a cute little store, and it was over by like Le Fleurs or something like that. Le Fleurs, it was like this garden or park area where it was just a whole bunch of flowers. They had just had one of the designer shows over there. So we went to Colette, and we get in there and we're like feeling the vibe, and our teacher's like, yeah, you know, just go around, look to see what they have. So again, I felt luxury, I felt expensive going in this store, looking at everything that's like fresh off the runway from all these designers, knowing I cannot afford this at right now, but I'm gonna look, and I'm going to take this as a marketing standpoint and take notes for my paper that I have to write at the end. And no sooner than I walked in there, because I was still walking around the first floor. Actually, no, I walked in there, I saw they had like books, and there was a register, and then they had clothes. It was mostly men's clothes on the bottom floor. The upstairs was really like the women's stuff and the hot stuff that just came off the runway. So I went up there first, looked around, I was like, oh, this is cute, and they had it like all merchandise, really nice. And I went back downstairs looking around a little bit more. Then I noticed there was like this car in the front, but it was more like on display, the car, so I just didn't really pay attention to it. But I noticed there was like this crowd surrounding like the front part of the store where the car was, and I really didn't understand why. And I'm like, do they all really care about this car, right? No sooner than I said that, my roommate turned to me. Actually, no, someone else that I was with us on the trip turned to me, and she said, you know Kim and Kanye are up there, right? And I was like, what? I was like, what? You're lying. So I turn around, and there was Kim. I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I was like, Kim. I was like, I love your hair. You look so pretty. And she looked up and she looked at me, and she's like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. And I was like, Kim just spoke to me. Did everybody just catch that? Kim just spoke to me. And the girl that was with us on the trip, she was like, Kim just spoke to you. And literally I walked up to her and said hi, and she just like looked at me and said nothing. And I was like, what? Really? And then my roommate was like, Kim just spoke to you. And I was like, I know. Like, she was in disbelief because she thought like if she would have said something, Kim wouldn't have responded, and so she didn't say anything. And so I was bold enough to say something, and Kim responded. I was like, oh my gosh, like, what? This is insane. I was literally like arm's length away from Kim and Kanye. And at this point was when she had just went platinum blonde, and she cut her hair into like that edgy bob. And I specifically remember she was wearing these over the knee black boots. I forget the designer, but if you Google this look, it comes up. She was wearing all black. She had her blonde edgy bob, platinum blonde. She was wearing over the knee black leather boots, and she was just dressed to the nines. Like, she was fly. I was like, Kim, oh my god, hi. Right? So she had walked around the store, and I followed her around like a little bit, not because I was starstruck, but because I was just like, oh my gosh, she just spoke to me. And I just love Kim. Like, she was so sweet. Like, I kind of just want to be in her presence a little bit. So you know, they had security with them, of course, and I was like, you know, this is really weird. Like, everyone in the store is following them around. So after I followed her for like a couple of steps, I was like, I'm just gonna leave her be. I'm gonna let her shop, do her thing. So she walked around, she went upstairs, and then they were getting ready to come out of Colette. So of course now the paparazzi knows that, you know, Kim and Kanye are here, and they are like fashion icons. So I come out of the store, out of the doorway, because I was like, I want to get one more picture. Because as we were walking around, following them for a couple of steps, my roommate was snapping shots. And I'll put up the picture here of the ones that we took of Kim and Kanye, so you guys can see the epic blonde bob that she had. Yes, I was outside. I remember I was outside of the store, and the paparazzi was sort of on the sides. Now, I was almost in the street, because when you come out the store, there's a sidewalk, and then there was a street, right? And I remember like saying to my roommate, like, oh my gosh, okay, they're about to come out, take some pictures. All of a sudden they come out, and the paparazzi goes nuts and starts pushing me and my roommate back, and we're like, oh my gosh, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm about to fall. And it was crazy. We didn't even get a picture after that. So I'm like, thank God we got pictures while we were inside, because the store wouldn't let the paparazzi come inside, just for the sake of that happening, right? So anyway, as we like collect ourselves and regain our balance, we look, because they went down that way. And Kanye hops into his all black, his matte all black, I don't know what type of car this was. It was futuristic looking, I'll tell you that much. Like, it was a foreign car, and it was fly and had suicide doors, right? So they open the suicide doors, they hop in, and he like disappears into Paris. And I was like, this is crazy. Like, this feels like something straight out of like a storybook, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, like we just met Kim and Kanye. She just acknowledged me. Like, my whole life, my whole perspective right now is totally different. I can't believe that like I met Kim and Kanye. And it's funny because it manifested itself, because I was saying on social media the day before, literally, I was like, we're at Versailles right after Kim and Kanye. Hope we run into them along our trip. And bam, the very next day, unexpectedly, as I was minding my business, shopping around the store, and they just popped up, and I was like, what? We cool now. But I also remember going to the flea market in Paris, which if you ever go to Paris, go to the flea market, period. It's like a maze, so it is a little bit intimidating at first, but once you go through and you just find your way, and you find it's broken up into sections. So there's like home sections, there's part that's like vintage clothes and accessories and designer stuff, and there's a whole nother art section. So you kind of just have to weave and bob your way through, and it's massive. I actually got this rabbit fur vest. It was like $60 or something there. I just had to get it, because over here you get that, it's gonna be like $100. I already know. So I got this really nice fur vest, and I just loved going in there. I got so much stuff out of there that would have been really, really expensive here, but over there they're so willing to bargain with you, and they know you're American, so they're kind of like, oh, you're cool, and then they start speaking in English, and then you're like, oh yeah, okay, now I feel more comfortable, because you know me, we know you understand what I'm saying. We start laughing, cracking jokes, like they're so cool. So we kind of spent the rest of the day, or the one of our last days over there, and just really revisiting, you know, certain spots that we really liked. I remember that across from the hotel there was this cute fashion store that I wanted to get souvenirs from my niece. I got her this cute little pink bag. I also got myself one in black. It was a French brand that I knew we didn't have over here in the States, so that's why I wanted to get it for her. And I got a couple of other different things from different stores, fashion places and stuff. But overall, like, my experience in Paris was just, it was incredible. And I knew when it was time to go, after we had visited all those museums and fashion stores and restaurants and landmarks, I felt, you know, in my heart that I would be going back to Paris. And it was crazy because at the time I barely had the money to afford the trip. They gave me a scholarship. I applied and won a scholarship to pay the other half of the trip because I was working. part-time and going to school full-time, and that was the only way I was able to pay what I was able to pay, but they gave me a scholarship to pay for the rest. And it was crazy for me to think that I would ever be able to fly back there on my own, because it's more expensive when you fly on your own as opposed to when you're purchasing tickets in a group when you go anywhere. And I just knew in my heart, like, one day I'll be going back to Paris. And I still haven't been back to Paris, but I know one day I will be going back to Paris. And one of the most exciting things I did as well was when we went to the Louvre, which is an amazing museum. It's literally huge. I love how all the places in Paris are just huge. It's a palace, I believe. It's an old palace. And then they also have a like pyramid outside, which I'll insert pictures of here. And you can do like photo ops there, which is cool. So I do one like me holding the pyramid, underneath the pyramid. Like, it was a lot of fun. And in there, I remember we had to find the Mona Lisa. And I was like, because I have to take a picture with the Mona Lisa. First of all, like, not a lot of people get to do it. And second of all, that's like a once in a lifetime opportunity, right? So it was the most packed area in the whole entire museum. I feel like a lot of tourists were there just to take pictures with the Mona Lisa. But also, Mona Lisa is tiny. Like, the Mona Lisa is literally like this big, and it's on the wall, and you have all of these barriers up, so you can't get too close to it. It's a couple feet away from it in which you have to take the picture, so I'll insert that there. And I was just like, all right, it's my turn. I'm pushing my way to the front. And I was like, selfie! And I took the picture of the Mona Lisa. And I was like, Ma, look, I got a picture with the Mona Lisa. It's like, it was crazy. It was just like, the trip to Paris, it was epic. It was life-changing. It was just marking things off my bucket list one by one, and then exceeding my expectations, of course, of meeting Kim and Kanye. Forever will be in my heart that day. And so I was like, wait, I wonder if they're filming like the Kardashians, because then I might be on the show. I was going above and beyond, but that part I do believe they did not film like in the store, but she did film more so about her experience in Paris before her following trip and everything went left. But yeah, it was a life-changing trip that I went to Paris. And then when I came back from Paris, that's when I launched my namesake brand, Jade Alycia INC, which you guys can see in my previous video of how I started my fashion brand. It really launched out of that. And from there just came my other things like the Unjaded Journals, and that's my first blog post. So if you guys want to see more details about my Paris trip, definitely check that post out. And I ended up starting, doing makeup and having my makeup service and brand, and also out of that birthed my graphic design company, jwbranding.co. So that trip to Paris in 2016 changed my life forever and always, and I can't wait to go back. I hope you guys enjoyed like my experience in riding through this video with me. Don't forget to subscribe, and also if you guys have visited Paris, let me know down below in the comments if you have not, what your favorite places were, what your favorite experience or most memorable experience was when you visited, because I want to hear all about it and what you loved. So I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.